Welcome to your video on yoga for low back pain. This video is designed for those that are either experiencing low back pain or tend towards having chronic back pain or low back issues. There's a lot of different muscles that cross the hip joint, so it's hard sometimes to figure out maybe exactly which muscles are getting tight. But we know in general when we're dealing with the low back, a lot of the muscles that cross the hip do tend to tense up, and so it's a good idea to provide some stretching and mobility and also strengthening in these areas. Now, because this class is designed for those that are actually in pain or have chronic pain, it's going to have quite a gentle feel, so you can feel safe and rest assured that this practice is for you. If you have something like a strap handy or anything that would serve as a strap and a pillow or blanket, grab those and let's get started. Start lying on your back. Now you can have your blanket underneath your head if that's more comfortable, and have your strap and arms reach. We'll begin with our feet just underneath our knees, hips distance apart. And I want you to take your index and middle finger and find the frontal hip points. Those are basically the bony parts at the front of the pelvis facing towards the ceiling. And what we're going to do is just take some pelvic tilts. So you can have your fingers here to help guide. You'll basically shift them up towards your head, so they're going up, and then you should feel your low back flatten. And now I want you to guide those pelvic or those frontal hip points towards your legs. And if that direction's not helping you, I basically just want you to flatten your back and then lift your low back up. Flatten the low back and lift the low back up into its natural curve. Now we'll link breath to movement here. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, flatten your low back. What you're essentially doing is tilting your pelvis under, and now bring your pelvis back to neutral. You should feel or find the natural curve. So take an inhale. As you exhale, flatten your low back, and inhale, release. And we'll continue on. Exhaling, low back flattens, belly can pull in, and inhale back to neutral. Exhale, low back flattens. These are our pelvic tilts. We're just providing, continue on, some mobility here in the pelvis. Okay, last one here. And now again, you can have your fingers on your frontal hip points to help guide. You're actually going to move them to the side. See if you can kind of rock them side to side. So these are little small micro movements. You might not even be able to see me doing them. I'm just kind of moving my hip points over. Maybe they're just moving just a little bit. And now we'll see if we can take those hip points in circles. So your low back will kind of flatten as you do this, and you're circling around, and then just switch directions. Okay, and then we'll release that. Come, again, your low back will be flat here. Bring your legs to a 90-degree angle. Reach your arms up to the ceiling. And if you think about this, if we were to extend our wrists, we'd be in like a supine version of tabletop position almost. So these are called dead bug, and they're kind of your most classic core exercise, so good for helping for low back pain. So you will have to coordinate your movement here. Your left leg is going to straighten, your right leg reaches behind you, and then use your exhale. You've got that pelvic tilt as your low back flattens, and you pull everything back to your starting position. So now we'll switch sides as we inhale. Exhale, pull belly to spine, low back is flat. And we'll continue on. Your low back is pretty much flat the whole time, as best as you can. Reaching opposite arm, opposite leg, pulling it back to neutral. So you can see how this would be like our balancing tabletop if we were on our hands and knees. And belly pulls in. This is a core exercise, and we're moving slowly, so that every time you pull in, you're feeling the transverse abdominis, the belly button, drawing in towards the spine to stabilize that lumbar spine. We'll do 2 more on each side. Last one here. Belly pulls in, low back is flat, nice and easy movements. And we'll release, set your feet down. So again, we'll keep our feet hip distance apart. You can have your hands on your hips here. We're just going to let our right knee drop out to the side and then bring it back up. And now left knee and back up. And you can have your fingers on those frontal hip points to try to help your pelvis stay pretty much stationary, so that what you're doing is you're freeing up the hip joint. The thigh bone is just moving in an external rotation. And now we'll do one side, and we'll do repetitions. So just the right side. Right side goes out to the side and back. So these are clamshells. And as you progress and build strength and get yourself out of low back pain, you'd actually work up to doing these on your side. But for now, we're going to stay right here. Nice and easy. We'll switch sides, left knee out to the left and back up, out to the side, back up, side, trying to keep the pelvis as stationary as possible. It might move a little bit, it's all good. Okay, now we'll let that right knee fall out to the side and straighten our left leg. And so you could think of this almost like a supine tree pose. And we could even, if it feels good, reach our arms up. If it's too much on your low back, you'll just stay with your hands at your hips. Take a few breaths here, just letting gravity open the right hip, so that we can find both mobility and some stretching along the muscles that cross the hip and attach to the low back. We'll bring the right knee up, slide the left heel back, and we'll simply switch sides. Left knee goes out to the side, straighten your right leg. Deep breaths. If you wanted to see if stretching the arms above your head felt good, you could try that. If not, you'll keep your hands right there on your pelvis. Couple more breaths. Bend your left knee, slide the right sole of the foot back, and let's reach and grab our strap. So we'll take the strap around the sole of the right foot. You can have the strap in your right hand here and keep your right knee bent to start, as well as your left. And again, I'm using my left hand here on my hip point just to help stabilize. And I'm just simply, you can bring the arm out to the right if that feels good. You're simply going to straighten your leg and bend. Now, I should let you know that your leg might be down here. And I know this because I suffered from really bad chronic back pain for a long time. And I had spine surgery, so I have done all of these exercises myself. And so your straight leg might be down here, and that's all good. That's where you are today, and that's perfect. We're just finding some mobility here. We're basically creating some dynamic stretching in the hamstring now. Okay, so get to where you can be with your right leg straight, whether that's at a 90 degree or down here, and then begin to slide your left leg straight. So this is a supine big toe to hand pose. We're going to keep our right hand in the strap here and breathe. Now flex your right foot. You can push your foot into the strap into the foot. Again, if yours looks like this, that's what it looks like, and it's perfect, okay? So we're just getting a hamstring stretch by straightening our right knee or extending through the right knee, breathing. Now, a little trick here, take your left hand in the strap, make like a horseshoe or a claw with your right hand, lower your leg a little bit, and snuggle that hand into your hip crease. This is hip traction. So you're actually going to push down that hip crease a little bit and breathe. And then if and only if it feels good, bring your right leg a little bit closer towards your face. Deep breaths. Try to ground your left leg down as well. Again, if you're feeling any tension or the leg's just not lifting that high, no worries, you're right here, or even lower. Now from here, we'll take our right hand back onto the strap, left hand grounds here, and now we'll bring our right leg out to the side. And it might be low, and if you even need to bend your knee a little bit, I want you to do that. Deep breaths. Slowing down the breath, sending signals to our body that it's safe to stretch, listening. If you're feeling any tension in that low back, you're backing out of the pose or coming out altogether. We'll bring the right leg up, bend your left leg, bend your right leg again. This is half happy baby pose. If you can grab the sole of the foot, do that. If not, just take your strap right here. So the leg is bent, we're allowing the knee to come out to the side a little bit more. Okay, now we'll release and we're going to switch sides to that whole thing. So strap along the sole of your left foot. We're starting with just some gentle leg pumps, bending the knee, straightening the knee, some dynamic stretching for the hamstring. And now we'll work the legs straight, so extending the knee, engage your left quadricep rather. And then you can slowly start to straighten your right leg. Now that curve, that natural curve in your lumbar spine will often be there, and that's all good. Few breaths here. Push into the strap as you flex your foot and pull the strap towards your chest. We're taking our right hand to the strap. We're making the horseshoe here, lower down a little bit and really snuggle into that hip crease. And I'm applying quite a bit of pressure as I push down. This is called hip traction, relieving compression in that hip joint. And then maybe see if you can go a little bit deeper in your stretch. Deep breaths. Another breath. We'll switch hands with the strap. Right hand stabilizes your right hip, and you're moving the left leg in the hip joint. So don't turn all the way to the side. You want to keep this right hip down. So if your leg only moves about here, that's where it moves. It's all good. And you can keep your left knee bent as well if that feels better. Continue to stabilize the right leg down. And I'm even taking my right hip point and pulling it out to the right a little bit to get a deeper stretch through the hips. Another breath. And we'll bring the leg back up, bend your right leg. We're taking that half happy baby pose. If you easily grab the foot, you'll do that. If it's not easy, I don't want you to do that. So we don't want to stress out other body parts here as we're trying to send calming signals to our low back. Just allow this practice to feel nurturing, easing into mobility, easing out of pain. One more breath here, and we'll release. This time you'll flex your right foot, take reclined pigeon. Now, if in order to grab this left thigh, you're like stressed out here, so I don't want your shoulders up, I want your shoulders to be grounded. If the shoulders are lifted up, have a strap behind the left thigh, and again, you could also have a blanket underneath your head or a cushion. So from here, we're going to pull the left thigh in. Reclined pigeon is great for low back pain. We get into the piriformis muscle, one of the deepest glute muscles that often can squeeze the nerve down there and cause a lot of discomfort. You can even just gently use that right elbow to guide the right knee out. So you pull the left thigh in. Take another breath here. And we'll release. Let's windshield wiper our knees side to side, releasing any tension here. And we will switch sides. So flex your left foot, hook the left foot, externally rotate that left leg, and we're taking our right thigh in towards our chest. If the shoulders or head lift up to do that, you're going to use your strap. And deep breaths. Notice if you're rocking side to side, if your weight is uneven, try to just be neutral through the pelvis. Allowing your breaths to be slow and deep, sending signals to the muscles that it's okay to relax and stretch. And we'll release. Again, gentle windshield wiper through your knees. We'll take half wind pose. So straighten your left leg and hug your right knee into the chest, just so much as it feels good. And we'll take this right knee all the way over to the left, and you're essentially gonna roll all the way onto your left side. So slide that left hip under. Take a big sweep and circle of your right arm. And you'll notice that the weight of that might pull you back a little bit. So we've got a little bit of gravity on our side here. We can take our left hand and just gently guide the right knee without forcing, just giving ourselves a nice stretch. Feel a low back stretch here. And we'll inhale onto our backs and switch sides. Left thigh comes in, we'll take the left knee and we're flipping our right hip all the way under so the hips are stacked and squared. Big circle of your left arm. You can close down the eyes here if that feels good. Deep breaths, releasing breaths. Inhale onto your backs, and we'll roll onto our right side and come onto our belly. We'll roll onto our right side, come up. We're actually going to transition onto our belly, but we'll use our blanket. If you have a bolster or cushion, I want you to roll it up. And we're going to place this right underneath our rib cage and come into Sphinx pose. So that's just on your forearms and on your belly. Now, depending on what's going on in your low back, if this position doesn't feel good, you'll just skip this pose out. You can lay fully on your belly with your forearms stacked here. That's called crocodile pose. So that's what you'll take here. So we want to be able to move our spine in all directions. We just might need to be a little bit gentle. So I'm sliding back a little bit because I'm trying to find the most support right at the bottom front of my ribs. Deep breaths. Okay, from here we'll come into tabletop position. So hands and knees. And remember when we started on our back, that dead bug exercise, I noted that we kind of were right here, right? And so that's what I want you to find with your back, almost like a flat, low spine. So your pelvis tucks under a little bit. Just breathe here. We'll curl the right toes under and reach our left arm up, and then see if we can reach the right leg up. This is balancing tabletop. Let's see if we can hold a few breaths. Keep your outer right hip closed. If it's hard to balance, you can either place your left hand down or curl those right toes under. Release, and we'll switch sides. So left toes curl under, left leg is straight, reach your right arm out. Play with your balancing tabletop here. Low back is flat, front ribs down, neck nice and long, so you're gazing down at your mat. Another breath. And we'll release. Come into Thunderbolt, and if this is uncomfortable, you can have your block right underneath your seat here. Relieve pressure on your knees. And we'll take some kneeling cat-cows. So you'll bring your elbows wide. So again, good to get mobility through your spine, and press your chest forward. Let the pelvis tilt forward. As you exhale, you'll round your spine, elbows come in, chin to chest, belly pulls in. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Oftentimes you keep going, our thoracic spine gets locked up because it's overcompensating so much when we're in low back pain. And so we want to also keep mobility in the mid-spine as well. So cat-cows are great for that. Okay, last one. If you're on your prop, you can remove it. We'll come into child's pose with our knees together. So from here, you'll walk your hands out and belly comes towards the thighs. Place your forehead down. With our knees together in this child's pose, we can get a nice stretch of that low back. If it's too intense or your forehead doesn't come down, you can place a prop underneath your head. Take a couple breaths here. On your next inhale, walk your hands back, and we'll end in our seat with just a couple more stretches. So sit up on a prop, either your blanket or a block or your cushion, and come into a cross-legged seated posture here. Sit up nice and tall, just working on your posture. Try to get a nice long spine, shoulders stack over hips, crown of the head reaches up. We'll inhale, sweep both arms up, and as you exhale, take your left hand down, keep reaching the right arm up, and then side bend over. So now we're getting a good stretch of this muscle in our low back on the sides called the quadratus lumborum. It's wildly overlooked, but side bending and twisting will really get a nice stretch, because it also really tenses up when we have low back pain. Inhale, come up. And exhale, switch, right hand down, lift the left arm up, side bend over. Inhale, both arms up. As you exhale, we'll twist to the right. So turn first, try to keep your hips where they are, and then place your hands down. Each inhale, lift the crown of your head up. If it feels good, turn on over, gaze past your right shoulder. If not, you'll just look kind of neutral where the chin is over the sternum. Inhale, both arms up, and exhale, twist to the left. Same thing here, reach the crown of the head up. Only if it feels good, you'll turn your gaze over your left shoulder. Otherwise, keep it neutral. Inhale, both arms up, and exhale, hands come to prayer. Close down your eyes here. Just feel your body, feel all the muscles around the hip joint. Visualize your low spine, and even bring in some healing, white, warm light into that area. Invite a mantra: I am free, I am healthy, I am healing. We'll take an inhale in, and exhale, bow in. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed this brief practice for yoga for low back pain. Feel free to revisit this video and do these exercises quite regularly to help relieve your symptoms and get you on a journey for healing.